It was a very good win at Scarborough.
It was a very good, shall we say, performance full of character. What I mean by that is we had enough quality to score 3 goals, and it was a test of character in terms of the mentality of the group, with the weather conditions, the surface, the pitch, the surrounding area, everything about it was hostile. The crowd were vociferous, which I mentioned after the game, and it's never easy when their players are playing into a big man and playing for second balls, and they were getting the majority of the second balls, if truth be known, in the first half. But in the second half, I thought we got to grips with the way sort of they played and their style of football, and we nullified it. And then consequently, we had the presence of mind when it came along to put the third one in the net. To score 3 goals away from home in any game of football is no mean feat, and we managed to do it on a hostile night at Scarborough and came away with the points.
Yes, because going in at half-time, their tails could easily have been up, given the way the first half had gone.
Yeah, and I think they were relying on the fact that the windy conditions, as I said, was going to be playing in their favour. The goalkeeper could go from goal to goal with a kick out of his hands, and with a 6'6" striker, your centre-halves are going to have to be on the metal and be worth their wages that night, by putting their head on the ball as often as they possibly could. Strangely enough, I was talking about Dean Windus after the game about heading balls, and what the damage that caused back in the day. Paul Downing headed his fair share of balls in the second half, so did Rhys McNally and Caleb Richards. So centre-halves earned the right in the second half to win the game by getting a clean sheet from 45 minutes onwards, along with the goalkeeper. And then Ashley Hemmings pops up with a winning goal, which is typical of Ash at the moment. He's in a rich vein of form, and hopefully long may that continue.
And you're top of the league.
Yes, by all accounts, and I keep on saying I don't look at league tables, but it's very difficult when people are phoning you up and pointing it out to you on a regular basis, which is very nicely done, Trevor, thank you. Yes, we're there to be shot at now, and hopefully with 2 home games coming, we're not going any further than Warrington on Sunday, but with 2 home games to come, hopefully that position can be bolstered by a couple of home wins. But Warrington on Saturday, a score to settle to a certain extent. We didn't really turn up in the second half at Warrington away, and I think it was our first defeat of the season, if truth be known. We'd gone 3 on the bounce and then lose the 1 at Warrington, which on paper might have been the easier fixture out of the 4, but it shows you what this league does to you. You can, if you don't turn up and don't play and don't wear out the opposition where the physical side of the game is concerned. All of these things are in play from minute 1, and they certainly were in the Warrington game away from home. Having said that, we went a goal ahead and consequently lost the game 2-1. So that's still in my mind as a score to settle, but it's not one of them where it's because we lost at Warrington. It's just that I thought we didn't turn up, we didn't show up that day, and Saturday is about showing up.
Pressure is a word that's vastly overused in sport. I think I've said it before, but being top of the league, because it does add a little bit of pressure, doesn't it?
Well, at this stage of the season, it means you're the best team in the division, but it counts for nothing because you don't win titles in December and January and February. You win them in April and May, and that's what we're aiming for. It's a building block process, but the building's half built at the moment as the season's now 23, 24 games in. And you're top of the pile, which is applauded. It's nice. It means that we've done our job for 6 months of the year, but now we need to do the second 6 months of the year, and that's the business end of the competition. It's when you find out a little bit more about your players. Can they handle the pressure? Can they handle the fact that they are going to be shot at? Can they put up with the fact that people are going to come here and be stubborn and build defences on 4s and 5s and 6s and maybe 10s behind the ball? Who knows? And we've got to be patient enough to break it down, but also have that quality. I think the quality's there's no doubt about it. I think the front 3 now have gone into the 30s in terms of goal return. And when you think about that halfway through the season, that front 3, albeit there's been a little bit of pressure on the front 3 with Toby coming in and chipping in, and keeping Maz sitting on his hands for maybe 2 or 3 games. So that kind of competition at the top end of the pitch normally is a sign that it keeps your striker scoring goals, and that's what we need. We need Ash Evans to keep on scoring goals. You know, he's in a rich vein of form. We need, you know, Amari Morgan-Smith to keep on leading the line and scoring goals. They're both having a good season, but that needs to continue. You know, and if that continues, sometimes it can get you out of a hole. You know, when you're not playing that well. But it's just the 14, 15 clean sheets that we've got as well. A couple of two of them together, you've got a recipe for success, which is obvious. But my biggest dilemma, I think on Saturday, is one, picking a system to play in, because we're now akin to change during the course of games, starting games with a 3, sometimes going to a 4, starting with 3 in midfield, sometimes going to a 4 or 2. But my biggest dilemma is picking a winning team and a winning formula. You might think that's easy when you've won 3-2 at Scarborough on a Tuesday night. It is from a character perspective, but some of the players, and we admitted this at half-time, didn't show up until after half-time when really push was coming to shove. I need that to happen at minute 1 at 3 o'clock on Sunday. If we've got that, then we've got the right mentality to go on to win this game.
You were without Cam Candler the other nights. What's the issue there? Is he likely to be back for this weekend?
No, Cam had a little bit of a niggle in his leg, and he's a genuine lad. It's one of them where he's listening to his body and I'm listening to him. And he said he wasn't going to be 100%, and it wasn't anything to do. A lot of the times you think Marine away, AstroTurf, games cancelled, then all of a sudden you've got Scarborough away, AstroTurf again, and then 2 games at Agborough on beautiful grass, which we've just walked past. Great conditions if the weather's like this. The different surrounds and different conditions that get thrown at you. Cam just genuinely said that he was struggling, whether it was on grass or AstroTurf. You know, he's struggling with an injury. We've worked him today. We worked yesterday when everybody else was having a day of rest, having not got back from Scarborough till about 4 o'clock in the morning. But everybody trained properly today on Cozy. We'll have another look at it tomorrow. And if he's thrown his hat in the ring, I've got a real dilemma at who to pick. The back 3 can say they were in a winning team, but they were in a winning team that conceded 2 goals. So there's arguments for and against. I'm going to get paid for my job, basically, in the second half of the season by picking the right team often enough, because the competition for places is brilliant. And that's what I wanted, Trevor, from minute 1. I've now got it, where I'm not saying I've got 2 players for every position, but it's not far off.
In terms of your longer term absentees, we spoke around about Christmas time just before, and you said you were hoping possibly end of January you might have some news. Well, we're mid-January now. Obviously, I'm thinking of Luke Summerfield, Ben Beresford, Alex Penny. Those are the 3 I'm thinking of.
No, Alex Penny's still really struggling with his back. Ben Beresford, we've just had news that Blues are going to send him for another scan, which is not a good sign. You know, at the end of the day, we were hoping Ben was going to be on the training ground for us this week. That's not been the case. He's not our player, so I can't command that one, as it were, even though you're paying his wages. It is a case of we're listening to the Blues hierarchy and the medical people at Birmingham, and I'm not saying they've got better expertise than what we've got. I think we've got a very good physio in Ellie Billingham, and long may that continue. She's learning a trade, but she's being dictated to by a bigger club, which is what happens when you loan players from big clubs. So I don't think Ben's going to make it this January, and I don't think Luke Summerfield is neither. You know, he's been out of his cast. He'll be here on Saturday. You can ask me the question after the game, because I'll have a good long conversation with Luke. Every time he comes, he gets in the change room like he's never been away, and that's it's like a family, that change room, and it's nice to see that, you know, Luke's still coming, even though he can't contribute. He's still coming to support the lads, and I think they've got a great mentality in the change room, that they do support each other, and long may that continue as well.
You've clearly got a strong squad, you're top of the league, but they all say when you're in a position of strengthen. So are you still looking to do that? Yeah,
we are. We had a conversation with a National League centre-half this week. We've had a conversation with a renowned striker, that's a goal scorer, this week. So we're looking to bolster both ends of the pitch, the business end, shall we say. We've now got any 2 from 4 in midfield, you know, centre midfield berth. You look at wing-back position, is there any pressure on Joe Folks, the quality that he's providing at the moment? Joe's keeping his shirt because of that. But the lad's on 8 yellow cards, you know, and eventually we'll probably have to cross that bridge. But there's people in-house that than could cover Joe at wing back, Reece McNally being one of them. But then you're shifting Reece out of a position that he's quite simply made his own. But that competition for places actually lends itself around all over the park. The Reece Devine situation is fascinating for me. We brought him in to cover probably one of our most consistent players in Keller Richards. And we had this conversation this morning in a staff meeting that he could probably walk into any other team, Reece Devine, in, if not playing in the Football League. And he's battling away and trying to keep his place whenever he does play. He was on the end of an injury 3 or 4 games ago that's kept him out, and he's been suitably replaced by a player who, what I'm trying to make is the point is the competition for places is brilliant, and I'm really, it's wetting me whistle for to see it. It can actually lend itself to every position all over the park. Can we get our strongest team out on Sunday? Well, only the result will tell me that, because at the end of the day I'll have a strong bench, and I know that strong bench will be good enough to play in that team, but bottom line, that competition is what I've wanted all my life, all my career, and I've certainly got it at Harriers now.
You mentioned Reece Devine. I might be wrong with the game, but I'm pretty sure it was Needham Market he came on and made a real impact, because I was doing that game down there. And he had to be patient, didn't he, earlier in the season to get his chance, but he's certainly taken it with, as I say, both hands, both feet.
I think that's the word, isn't it? Patience, that you try, and I've never been blessed with patience, unfortunately, but I would have been a nightmare for a manager if I'd have been left out. I was very fortunate. I was ever present, if you want to call it, being a captain or whatever it is. But these players that are sitting on their hands, and I use that term loosely, but I know what it means. You're sitting on the bench, basically, or you're sitting in the stand, you're waiting for the opportunity, and it's a horrible position to be in, but if you've got a manager that's promising you, you're going to get your chance. And that's what I do, and I want them to grab that chance and take it. That's the recipe for success. It's as simple as it gets, and I think I've got that kind of mentality and attitude in the ranks.
And for one point, you don't need me to tell you, of course, you think back, you went to Hereford, you were excellent there, won 3-0, came back here and played Russell, and it all fell apart. You've gone top of the league now. It's that consistency, isn't it? Every manager I've ever spoken to wants consistency, and you've got to back up that win at Scarborough.
It's very much so. It's nice to remind me, the Hereford game was a nice thought process. Russell Olympic wasn't, and was it the fact that we went top? Was it the fact that there's extra pressure on you? I don't know. But it's quite ironic, if you want to call it that we quickly went back to the top of the table, as it were, So I don't think it's lost on the players, any kind of criticism, any kind of question mark about their mentality or their attitude. For me, has been answered a million times over. I see it on the training ground every day, and hopefully that'll manifest itself on Saturday. I think it's about attitude on Saturday. It's about the mentality of our group against a team that are not having a successful season, but they're in the same division as us, so we've got to pay them that respect. But we've got to pay ourselves more respect by turning up and maybe putting a smile on a few thousand people's faces at Agbra.
And very last point, you didn't pick up any extra knocks up at Scarborough, did you?
No.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Out of interest, as a manager, because I know there's that cliche that it's a nice problem to have when you've got players that you need to leave out, and we've had times this season where we've had injuries and suspensions, and even fielding a 16 has been a stretch, so that's another headache. But when you've got the situation where you're having to tell good players who would normally start for you that they are on the bench, for instance, which one of those two headaches is harder?
I think it's a good question. Good players that you're saying you're not playing this week, you're on the bench, or even make it harder. Good players you're not even on the bench. It is really difficult. It's one of them. I've just had 3 or 4 individual conversations, and that's all you can do. All you can be is honest to the player, and if the player sees that honesty in you, he'll take the reason, and it doesn't become an excuse because you're being honest. A lot of times as a manager, I've been down that line where I've thrown an excuse basically at a player. That's the reason why I'm not playing you, blah blah blah. And they can see it in your eyes, they can see it in your delivery. I've never had to do that at Harriers, and I think it's down to the fact that I've got an honest group of players. The honesty is born out of the hard work that we put in together in pre-season, then coming together. Even I'm going back to the very first pre-season friendly that we had, which was Cardiff away. And we surprised everybody. I think we surprised ourselves, if truth be known. I think England were playing that night. We were behind enemy lines in Wales, and lo and behold, we win the game 1-0. I was like, wow, on a great surface, played some good football, but had to defend for the majority of the game because of the quality that Cardiff have got. And I think that's where it sort of blossomed. all this belief and togetherness and working for each other, and the harmony that was produced from that pre-season, I think it's just grown. And I know we've improved. We mentioned Luke Summerfield literally 5 minutes ago. We started off with that kind of a team. You know, Alex Penny was in the team, Luke Summerfield was in the team. You know, when we started picking up injuries and stuff, people were coming in and replacing them. And then when you've been replaced, you think at first you're irreplaceable because of 5 games on the bounce, we've won 4 of them, and then all of a sudden I've lost my 2 centre-halves, and they probably think, well, we've done our job, we started the season well. And then lo and behold, Cam Candler comes into the camp and gets 7 clean sheets out of 8. It's just, it's amazing, it's remarkable how the people who have been waiting have got their chance and actually grabbed it with 2 hands. And I think it's surprised everybody, but it hasn't really surprised me because I've witnessed the quality on the training ground. I think that's the kind of questions you ask me. You know, how did you recognise that? How did you see that? Why did you play him? This, that, and the other. But you see it on a Monday or Friday. You get the window of opportunity for 90 minutes on a Saturday, whereas I see it every day, every minute of every day and every week. It's great seeing it all come together, I've got to say it, Matty, but we haven't done anything yet. You know, we're just painting a picture and it's only half finished.